Hi, I'm Maggie. I've spent the last 7 years climbing the corporate ladder at Apex Marketing, finally landing the executive position I'd been working toward. My life was going exactly according to plan. Well, except for falling head over heels for a guy who would make my parents lose their minds. You sure you want to do this tonight? Ryan squeezed my hand as we pulled up to my parents' suburban mansion. They have to meet you eventually. Besides, I can't hide this forever. I twisted the gorgeous, albeit modest, engagement ring on my finger. My parents, Ellen and Harold Parker, built their wealth through real estate development and spent the last 30 years making sure everyone knew it. They had my life mapped out since birth: prestigious college, respectable career, marriage to someone from their approved social circle. I checked the first two boxes, but Ryan definitely wasn't part of their plan. The salmon is divine, Ellen. My father's business associate, Patricia, nodded appreciatively at dinner. Our chef trained in Paris. My mother smiled, conveniently forgetting she'd hired him just last week, specifically for this dinner party. I caught Ryan's eye across the table. As head chef at Savory, one of the city's up-and-coming restaurants, he was politely ignoring the overcooked fish. Actually, everyone, I have an announcement. I stood, heart pounding. Ryan and I are engaged. The silence was deafening. You're... what? My father's face turned an alarming shade of red. We're getting married next spring, Ryan said, standing beside me. My mother laughed nervously. Maggie, darling, this is quite the joke. It's not a joke, Mom, but he's a cook. She whispered the last word like it was profanity. Executive chef, I corrected. Do you have any idea how embarrassing this is? Harold hissed. What will the Andersons think? The Mitchells? I don't care what they think. His parents probably shop at discount stores, my mother muttered. Actually, his dad's a mechanic who built his business from nothing, and his mom's a teacher who's shaped hundreds of lives. They're amazing people. This is beneath you, Harold insisted. We didn't send you to Stanford so you could marry someone who works in a kitchen. I grabbed Ryan's hand. We're leaving. Later that night, I sobbed on my best friend's couch. Your parents are unbelievable, Samantha said, pouring more wine. Who cares if Ryan isn't some trust fund baby? They called our engagement an embarrassment to the family name. So what are you going to do? Have the wedding anyway. Without them, if necessary. That's my girl. Samantha clinked her glass against mine. And when Ryan's restaurant gets that Michelin star everyone's predicting, they'll be begging for reservations. I'm done letting them control my life. This wedding is happening my way, with or without their blessing. They have no idea who they're messing with. No, I said, feeling my resolve harden. But they're about to find out. 2 weeks after our dramatic dinner, I was meeting with our wedding planner when my phone started blowing up with notifications. That's weird. Our florist just canceled. I scrolled through my emails. And the caterer too? What the hell is going on? This happens sometimes, the planner said sympathetically. Vendors overbook. No way, we signed contracts. I dialed the florist immediately. I'm so sorry, Maggie. Your mother called saying you wanted to go in a different direction. She paid the cancellation fee and everything. My blood boiled. 3 more vendors confirmed the same story. Ellen had systematically dismantled our wedding plans, one by one. I drove straight to my parents' house, slamming my car door hard enough to echo through their manicured neighborhood. How could you do this? You canceled our vendors behind my back. Ellen barely looked up from her magazine. I'm saving you from making a spectacle of yourself. It's our wedding. You had no right. That venue in the arts district? That farm-to-table menu, it screams desperate and cheap. It screams us. It's what we want. Harold emerged from his study. What your mother means is that we have a certain standard to maintain. The Prescott's daughter just had her wedding at the Ritz. 300 guests, orchids flown in from Thailand. I don't care about the Prescotts. Fix this. Call everyone back. We've already reserved the country club for next spring, Ellen said coolly. And I've spoken with the Whitford boy. He's recently divorced and very interested in reconnecting. Are you insane? I'm engaged to Ryan. About that financial gift we discussed for the wedding? Harold adjusted his glasses. That's contingent on certain decisions being made correctly. You're threatening to cut me off? Over this? We're protecting you from yourself. I stormed out, driving straight to the venue we'd chosen. The manager, Kayla, looked uncomfortable when I arrived. I wanted to call you, but your mother was very convincing. Said your fiancé's family had some issues that made them unwelcome in certain circles. What? What did she say exactly? Something about his father having gambling problems and his mother being involved in some scandal years ago? She was very detailed. These were complete fabrications. Ryan's parents were the most straightforward, hardworking people I'd ever met. My phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. Maggie, it's your Aunt Judith. My mother's estranged sister. They hadn't spoken in years. Ellen's on the warpath again, isn't she? Your cousin told me about the engagement. Congratulations. Thanks. She's trying to sabotage everything. Not surprised. Listen, there's something you should know about your mother. Something she's kept buried for decades. What do you mean? Your mother isn't who she pretends to be. That whole blue blood backstory? Complete fiction. Meet me tomorrow at Riverside Cafe. I'll bring the proof. I called Ryan immediately. My parents are even worse than we thought. They're canceling our vendors and spreading lies about your family. That's low, even for them. There's more. My Aunt Judith says my mom's been hiding something about her past. I'm meeting her tomorrow. Want me to come? No, I need to do this myself. If my mother wants to play dirty, she's about to learn I'm not backing down. The next morning, I spotted Aunt Judith instantly. She had my mother's high cheekbones, but softer eyes and none of the perpetual judgment. You look just like your grandmother, Judith said, sliding a worn photo album across the table. I opened it to find black and white photos of a modest house with peeling paint. What am I looking at? Your mother's childhood home in Millfield. The wrong side of the tracks, as they used to say. But she always said she grew up in Lakeview Heights. Pure fiction. Your grandpa worked at the steel mill until his back gave out. Your grandma cleaned houses, including the Marshall's place, where Ellen first got ideas above her station. I flipped through more photos. My teenage mother in simple, hand-sewn dresses, nothing like the debutante stories she'd told me. After high school, she reinvented herself completely, changed her accent, created an imaginary prep school background, even claimed distant relatives in Newport. By the time she met your father at college, the transformation was complete. Does Dad know? He bought the whole package. Once they were married, she cut ties with us completely. Too risky to have family around contradicting her perfect narrative. I took photos of everything with my phone. This explains so much. The obsession with status, appearances. She's terrified of being exposed. Always has been. Back home, I dug deeper. Online archives of our town newspaper showed my mother's name in a steel mill scholarship announcement. Not the equestrian competitions she'd claimed. Her supposed childhood home in Lakeview Heights wasn't built until she was already in college. My phone rang. It was Ellen. Have you come to your senses about this wedding disaster? Actually, I'm wondering if we should invite the Millers from Millfield. Your old neighbors? Silence then. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Because Aunt Judith had some fascinating stories about growing up there with you. You've been talking to that woman? She's always been jealous of my success. So you're not denying it? This ridiculous wedding is still the issue. We won't attend unless you move it to the country club. Not happening. Then neither are we. After hanging up, I called Samantha. My mother is a complete fraud. Her whole old money persona is a total lie. Holy shit, what are you going to do? The charity gala. They're hosting it next weekend. The one where they kiss up to all their rich friends? Exactly. The perfect place to expose everything. I remembered Patricia, my mother's social rival who'd been at our dinner. She'd been snubbed by Ellen one too many times. Patricia, it's Maggie Parker. I have a proposition you might find interesting. I'm listening. How would you like to help me take Ellen down a peg? I know about the board position she stole from you at the Historical Society. What did you have in mind? The charity gala. I need someone to help me circulate certain information. someone with credibility in their social circle. Count me in. Your mother has stepped on enough people. I laid out the plan to both women. Samantha would handle the technical aspects, while Patricia would ensure the right people saw everything at the perfect moment. Are you sure about this? Samantha asked. It's pretty nuclear. They didn't just insult my fiancé and try to cancel my wedding. They've been living a lie and making me feel inadequate my entire life. It's time everyone saw the truth. The night of the charity gala arrived. I wore a stunning red dress that would stand out among the sea of conservative blacks and navies. Ryan squeezed my hand as we entered. You sure about this? Never been more sure of anything. Samantha gave me a subtle nod from across the room where she was setting up a presentation my parents had approved for the charity announcement. What they didn't know was that we'd added some extra slides. Patricia approached, champagne in hand. Everything's ready. The Vandermeers and Ashfords are here. The biggest gossips in town. Perfect audience. I spotted my parents holding court near the stage. Ellen in her element, laughing too loudly at some finance joke Harold was telling. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC announced, please direct your attention to the screen for a special presentation about tonight's beneficiaries. The approved charity video began playing. Then, seamlessly, it transitioned to newspaper clippings of my mother's scholarship from the steel mill, photos of her childhood home, and yearbook pictures showing her humble beginnings. What is happening? Ellen hissed, her face draining of color. The final slide showed her quote from a local newspaper 30 years ago. I'm just a regular girl from Millfield with big dreams. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Patricia wasted no time. Ellen, darling, you never mentioned growing up in Millfield. How inspirational. There must be some mistake, Ellen stammered. No mistake, Mom. Just the truth. Harold looked bewildered. Ellen, what is this? Ask her about the house on Elmwood Drive she claimed to grow up in, I said loudly. The one that wasn't built until 1989. The whispering intensified. Social elites who'd endured years of Ellen's condescension were practically giddy at her downfall. My parents fled the gala early. 3 months later, our wedding day arrived. Ryan's restaurant had received its Michelin star, and our venue in the Arts District looked magical. Aunt Judith helped me with my veil. Your grandmother would have been so proud. Any sign of them? I asked. No, sweetheart. But you've got plenty of real family here. The ceremony was everything we wanted, intimate, joyful, and authentic. At the reception, Ryan's father gave a heartfelt toast that left everyone teary-eyed. A week later, Ellen and Harold appeared at our door. We've been doing some thinking, Harold began awkwardly. The community has been less than welcoming since the gala, Ellen added. 3 board positions rescinded, Harold muttered. Country club membership under review. We may have been hasty in our judgment of Ryan. I laughed. Now that he has a Michelin star, he's good enough? We're trying to apologize, Maggie. No, you're trying to salvage your social standing. There's a difference. We're still your parents, Ellen insisted. Parents who called my husband embarrassing. Parents who lied to me my entire life. Parents who tried to sabotage my wedding. What do you want from us? Harold demanded. Nothing. That's the beauty of it. I don't need your approval, your connections, or your money. I closed the door on their stunned faces. 6 months later, Ryan and I bought our first home. Samantha brought housewarming cupcakes. Heard your dad's company lost the Westside development contract. Turns out their old friends suddenly found them unsuitable partners. Any regrets? I looked around at our modest but beautiful home, thought about the life we were building on our own terms. Not a single one. What would you have done in Maggie's position? Would you have exposed your parents' hypocrisy publicly, or handled it privately? And do you think she was right to reject their apology completely? Or should family always get a second chance no matter what they've done? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this revenge story, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more stories about standing up to toxic people. New videos every day about people who finally say enough is enough and take back control of their lives. Thanks for watching.